There are a couple of things which you might want to do in order to make it easier for your students to orient themselves on the fingerboard, or for yourself. You may have noticed that there are fingerboard tapes on the instruments which you received from the university, and they're oriented in a so the first finger has a whole step from the open string, B, then there's a whole step from there, then a half step, and then a whole step. So you could certainly add those finger tapes to students' instruments in case they're not there and they need that visual assistance. Ideally, however, you would want to learn immediately the physical spacing without the assistance of your eyes, but rather using your ears to make the adjustments as needed. Basically, if the note needs to be higher, you move the finger higher or closer to you to shorten the string, and if it needs to be lower, you move the finger lower on the string, effectively making the vibrating length of the string longer. There's one other dot that you can add to the instrument called the high dot, and that would be exactly in the middle of the string. So, and what that placement is actually the octave. When you cut the string in half, then you find the octave. So you could, and that's typically right above where the instrument meets the neck, right? So here's the neck and here's the main body of the instrument, and just below that is about the octave point right here, right there. But you can also pluck it, let's say A string, and then find the octave, or G, or D, right? And then once you find that point, you can place a sticker there, and that will be called your high dot. And what that's useful for is when you're in rest position, you can tell your students to put their hands over the high dot, so right about here, and you can tell them tap on your high dot, practice tapping various rhythms, grasshopper, grasshopper, or Mississippi, Mississippi. Mississippi is a river. And then from the high dot position or rest position with hand over the high dot, you can go into the Statue of Liberty to hold the instrument, right? Back to rest position, then Statue of Liberty. Okay? So that's basically the setup information required for the violin or the viola itself. Let's talk a little bit about the bow.